Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany Simon. In today's series, we're going to review The Ultimatum Season 3. The first episode is called Marry or Move On, so it's basically an introduction of the characters. If you've never seen The Ultimatum, basically it's established couples coming together to say either marry me or break up with me, and it's a reality TV series. It is one of my favorites, and there's even been a queer version of it, which we love to see, and I hope in the future to see more of those themes, you know, different kinds of couples. I'd even love to see like a polyamorous reality TV show one day hosted by Nick Lachey, fingers crossed. For now, let's get started.
I love love, and I feel like everyone has a soulmate. I just want to experience as much of the love as I possibly can fit in my lifetime.
Ooh, already interesting for me because I do believe in soulmates, but I call them high compatibility partners if you're new to my channel. And high compatibility partners are exactly what they sound like. People that feel like soulmates, feel like the universe made them for you, when realistically, there's not one person out there for you. There's like probably millions statistically. Like you're not that unique that only one person would ever be good for you, right? It's more or less comforting to know there are millions of possibilities. The question is, when do we get to run into them? And I consider myself pretty lucky that I think I ran into one of my soulmates in my lifetime. So I get to, you know, I get to at least say that I lived an experience that coincides with my belief about love. Prior to getting married, I had the same belief that there were, after many bad relationships in my 20s, that there were people out there that were so high compatibility that would feel that it would make it feel magical and like one in a million, because I kind of do think it is. So it's interesting that these people are already in relationships where they feel so unsatisfied that they need to come onto a TV show, a reality TV show, just to force their partner into a situation where it's like, get married or move on. Now, the curious thing is she one of the partners who's asking for the ultimatum, or is she, you know, the person, is she giving the ultimatum? Is she, you know, getting the ultimatum? We don't know yet. So it'd be curious to see which one she is.
I want to get married. I want someone to make me feel like I am their dream woman, the person that they're choosing to start their life with, build a family with, buy their first home with. I want it all.
At the end of this experience, I hope my partner will choose me in the way that I've chosen her. Why do I have to fight for you to love me?
This is a moment to see that the grass is greener somewhere else.
Try it before you buy it.
I love you more now than I ever have.
You have a lot of qualities that would make you a great husband. I'm feeling very overwhelmed right now.
I love him.
I don't know where your lips been.
I think the things I was sure about, I'm not sure at all about. And I think that that's what scares me about this.
Okay, so they're giving like a bunch of spoilers, which is not my favorite part of the show because I kind of like going in blind. But if you guys are unaware, there's basically a time where the couples get switched and paired with other couples. So they have an opportunity to fall in love with someone new or to be intimate with somebody new. And it puts a lot of strain on the original couple. So that's basically what they're showing us as a preview.
At some point, we're gonna have to decide, are we doing this or are we not doing this? And that's why I'm giving my girlfriend an ultimatum.
I'm giving my boyfriend an ultimatum.
I'm giving my boyfriend an ultimatum.
Hello.
Welcome, guys.
Well, everyone is hot this season, as per usual. I know there's some complaints where people are like, we need less hot people on these shows. Who wants to volunteer to be the less hot person on the show? Can I just like have a show of hands of this? Everyone's very attractive. Like, yeah, no, they're pretty good at picking couples that are relatively good looking.
I want to be with someone who wants to be with me as much as I want to be with them.
Totally.
There's just something special about a man who is like, I want to marry you.
Marry me or move on.
Obviously, everyone is so different and unique in the world that, you know, how you find your partner is going to be so unique to you. And realistically, I do think in a healthy situation, I wouldn't have to beg somebody to marry me. Like, I think ultimately in healthy situations, we shouldn't have to beg our partners to love us and be with us. That alone should be kind of your indication to break up. Because with a high compatibility partner, it should both feel for both of you that with the data, so the logic, and with the emotions, the feelings, you're actually so compatible. It's like, why wouldn't I say yes to marriage? Even though you go through a reasonable dating period or you have a courting period where you make sure you're being logical, during those steps, you should feel more and more reassured, not less.
Welcome, everybody. Each of you have arrived as part of a couple.
Someone in the relationship has issued an ultimatum.
One of you is ready to be married and the other one, not so much. Now, if you're receiving the ultimatum and you're not ready to get married, it's okay. It's natural to wonder, is there someone else out there that's better for me?
Ooh, but I only think you wonder that if you're in the wrong relationship. And I do think that's true. I think you do wonder if there's someone better out there for you when you're in the wrong relationship. I think when you're in the right relationship, you don't have those thoughts. But I do think there's a stage in your relationship where you're dating and courting in which you could ask yourself that question. I think it's totally fair to have a before we're committed trial and error. I mean, I definitely did that in my 20s. And I know like I'm 35 now, so my 20s are getting further and further away from me. But I was at a stage in my life where I was dating people. I was living with people. You know, we were sharing apartments together and we were dating and committed, but we weren't committed, meaning we were dating to see if we were going to break up. Because realistically, I wasn't confident in any of those relationships. And I think I was correct, right? None of them were healthy enough. None of them were high compatibility enough. We were like 60% compatible or 40% compatible. But, you know, with this now marriage that I'm in, we started off on a solid 80% day one. And now I feel like we're at 99.9%. Like I feel like we're so compatible. We've dated, we've courted, we've gotten to know each other. We've lived together now. And it's just such a fabulous, fabulous marriage. I wish everybody to be this happy in their relationship. Like I want everyone to have a healthy, supportive, loving, interesting, adventurous, you know, engaging relationship. And I just think you have that. As the healthier you are, the healthier they are, and the healthier you pick your partners. And I know for some of us, like we have to go to therapy first. We have to do the work first. I've been there. I've done it. I get it. But I just want everybody, if they're in a relationship, to feel like they didn't settle, to not have those thoughts, is there someone better for me? You know, once you're in the committed part of the relationship, I think this is fair to be at the stage in your relationship where you're like, look, we're either each other's person or we're not. Are we going to break up or not? I think this is really valid to be at this stage. It's interesting that you need to go on a TV show to do it, but hey, everyone's different. Everyone's in a different bubble.
This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to explore two very different visions of what your married life could be like.
Zana, you gave the ultimatum to JR.
We have so much in common, from our upbringing to our favorite Thai food order. Everything just aligned so perfectly. We met on a dating app.
She was stunning when I first saw her. She's always finding ways to spice up life for me. She did tell me that I was the first to make her Zoom.
Okay.
Hey.
Thanks, TMI, bro. So Zana gave the ultimatum to JR. Okay.
I don't know if that's like she's just lying, trying to gas me up.
Hope my mom does not watch this. We have been together for almost 3 years now. And if we were in our 20s, I would have a totally different perspective. But being in your 30s, it hits differently. Women do have a biological time clock. I'm considering freezing my eggs.
P.S. Men do too. Your quality of sperm goes down as you age. If you smoke, your kids are more likely to have issues. XYZ. Like, do not put all this pressure on the women, because men too.
So Zana is the right person, but I've been through a lot of bad relationships.
Okay, when he says like she's the right person, but I've been through a lot of relationships. So you're admitting you have trauma. Are you in therapy? But more than that, if she is the right person, then like, what does that even mean in this situation if we're at this point?
Relationships with my past, including a failed marriage.
Okay.
Because I do not want to get divorced again.
Hey, that's fair. But I do think there comes a point in this channel, if you're new to this channel, we focus on introspection, philosophy, meaning your philosophy on life, your understanding of the universe and your place on earth and what you're doing here. And I feel like I'd love to know JR's philosophy on life. What does he believe in? And why is he allowing his past to impact his future? And why isn't he working on that healing? And if he is, what do those steps look like?
I, too, was previously married, divorced, so I understand the hurt, the scars that exist from that. How much do you think that that is playing a role in your unwillingness to take that next step?
So my marriage, there was infidelity. And when I think about marriage, I think I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with this individual, like until you die. It's a lot to think about.
And keep in mind, statistically, men leave women more if women have health problems. And so, yes, wanting to be with somebody till the day you die is so important, especially since you could get Alzheimer's, dementia, you could have medical problems. And so wanting to be in that relationship with someone, like I always say, you got to be with somebody even when they're going to have to wipe your butt when you're old, right? So that's a very specific kind of marriage. That's why marriages have a really struggle, a big struggle in terms of long lasting compatibilities. One, we settle. And two, we end up in situations with people that don't really know what it means to grow old with somebody. But it's really hard to grow old with somebody you're settling with. in my opinion, because you can do it. A lot of people do it, but they're miserable old people. I don't want to be a miserable old person. I don't want you to be a miserable old person. I would rather you break up than stay with somebody you're going to be miserable with in your 80s.
I want to make sure that she's the right one.
Zana, do you think you're willing to walk away at the end of this if you're not engaged?
I've never met anyone like JR, but I have to.
Nick, you have given Sandy the ultimatum.
I have. I'm at a point in my life where I'm ready to settle down. I'm an artist. My head is pretty wild and abstract, and I'm ready for a more chill home life.
Oh.
You're really pretty.
Thank you.
Our relationship was, at the beginning, 3 a.m. click-clack up my stairs, and her pounding on the door after she was out at the clubs. And,
But that's a compliment.
and it was. I knew
If
that
I'm drunk
I mattered.
calling you, that's a big compliment because I don't drunk call anybody.
I'm ready to move out of LA, somewhere near a lake, somewhere with some tranquility.
Ooh, lifestyle difference, huge, because lifestyle reflects values. Okay, so we have a values difference with Vanessa and Nick and Sandy. So Nick and Sandy, okay, he wants chill lake vibes, and she might be still in her clubbing phase, which I personally do think if you're clubbing in your 30s, like you better be like dinks, double income, no kids, party life, stay young, do your thing. I personally am not about it. Like, I'm definitely more into this settling into my lifestyle. Like, I'm glad my partner and I both had our gay clubbing, well, for me, gay clubbing days, like bar hopping days, whatever, our youth. And then when we got together, we don't have to do that anymore. It's not the vibe I'm into. Who knows what 50s Brittany will do? But 35-year-old Brittany is definitely not interested in it, so.
And some kids eventually.
Ooh.
She has these incredible maternal instincts, and I know we'd have a beautiful family.
I do see, a life where that's amazing. I just don't know if it's right now.
How does it make you feel?
Old. I think my version of fun and her version of fun is a little different at this point.
Super valid. These value differences are huge. These are the make and breaks of a marriage. This is why I say this is the stuff you should talk about very early on. What's your lifestyle like? How do you want to live it? Like, I'm not much of a traveler as an example. I'm a homebody. And something I really value in my partners, we're both homebodies, and we love being at home and we love our home. We spend a lot of time and effort making our home a place we want to be every day. And I'm just so grateful to be with somebody who's similar, because I would be a very bad companion to somebody who always wanted to travel, always wanted to go out, always wanted to see a museum, always wanted to leave the house. Like, I would not be a good partner for that person. So this is what you should talk about when you're dating.
She's still Coachellaing, and
oh no.
He's 10 years older than me.
Oh.
We don't live together yet.
Oh.
He wants to move in. He's lived in the city for 15 years.
Oh, wait, this changes everything.
I haven't.
I am madly in love with this
How
woman.
old is she?
But we've been fighting. I
Ooh.
get choked up.
This is also why I'm not a big fan of age gap relationships when the younger person is still in their 20s. Is she like 25 and he's like 40? Is she like 19 and he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, how old are these people? Because this is a huge reason why I'm not the biggest fan of age gap relationships. And I do think it's kind of like, I raise an eyebrow at people in their 50s who still party. I do. I think it's weird, but also you do you. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You live in your bubble. I live in my bubble. No judgment, but there's going to be judgment. That's what we're doing when we're watching these shows, is like, we're judging, but like, we're trying not to like condemn. We're just like, I don't know about that,
The idea of walking away from her it's hard. I don't want to part ways, but if it was what was best for each other individually, then I would take that road.
Sure, as you should.
Mariah, you have issued the ultimatum.
I am 24, but even though I am young, I do know what I want. First week we got to know each other, I made it incredibly clear I do want marriage and I do want kids.
I understand that marriage could provide like that mental security, but I'm a little worried that she's in a rush for it. And her being younger than me is like, enjoy life.
What?
And if you still have some hesitancy, then I feel as though I'm wasting a little bit of my time.
Yeah, what a weird, he just gave the weirdest reason. Like, if you're an older person in a relationship and you're like, you're young, live your life, you don't have to settle down right now. Ew.
Beautiful. I mean, it could just be
34.
my own eyes talking, but I want to get to know her.
Oh, Dave. Oh.
This is my
Wait, Dave? Who's Dave? Oh, okay. The editing is throwing me off. Oh, okay. Dave is the next couple. Okay.
boyfriend, Dave,
Dave and
about
Vanessa.
almost 3 years. Anytime I bring up marriage, it just seems like this taboo topic that we can't really talk about. It seems uncomfortable, and I just don't know why.
Marriage is
for sure on the horizon, but I'm not in a huge rush.
You say you're not in a huge rush, but the person who you love and adore is communicating to you that she's
And he's 34. Like, what are you talking about, right? Dave is 34. What are you talking about?
in a little bit of a rush. Does that influence where you want to see this thing go?
It's just a slow decision-making process.
I don't know why he can't just commit to me. Is there something about me that is not just making you want to like dive right in? I deserve someone who is 100% certain about me.
I don't like, you guys know I don't love the word deserve, but I think what people mean when they say it is that I'm allowed to have that in a sense. And I absolutely, you should 100% only marry or commit to somebody who's 100% certain about you, in my opinion. Any doubts? Absolutely not. And just to put it into context, like my partner and I planned our wedding together. We got ready together in the same apartment. We left the same apartment together. We showed up at the event together, had a very beautiful, small, intimate wedding. And it was our thing together. Okay. We went shopping together. We planned, like, I bought my dress. I sent it to, like, I sent pictures. I was like, what do you think about this dress? What do you think about this dress? We bought his suit together. Like, we did everything together because for us personally, first of all, we don't adhere to anyone's script but our own. Okay. We make our own little bubble. But more than that, we were 100% sure of each other when we got engaged. So for us personally, the reason we did courting for about 6 months was to be very serious. Did we think 3 months in we were absolutely getting married? Sure. But I needed the full 6 months personally to feel very secure because I wanted to be 110% sure. No doubts. So by the time the wedding came up, there was no cold feet. There was just a party we were throwing with our friends and having fun, right? It was a dinner. It was a great event. It was nice. It was like this anxiety, this wasn't happening. But you know what? When these conversations were happening in my life, when I was in my 20s, these were the types of conversations that would be had from both of our ends. Funny enough, my male partners would be like, why aren't you going to marry me? Why aren't you going to be with me? I don't understand why we're not doing this. And I would say, don't you think we're not happy? Don't you think we're not getting along? Don't you think there's a difference in our values? And we would go back and forth about like, why can't this work? Because the va-va-voom isn't enough. The physical chemistry isn't enough for a marriage. It's not enough when you get Alzheimer's. It's not enough when you lose your memory. It's not enough when you're needing diapers in your elderly years. Like, you can't sustain a lifelong marriage till death do you part on, in my opinion, a marriage in which you're not 100% going in. Now, I think a lot of people can settle into marriages they're not 100% about and live miserable lives, but I can't do that, girl. I'm too autistic to mask that way. I don't know what it is about me, but I show everything. Well, it actually probably is the autism, but I show everything on my face. Every part of like how I feel about a person is going to be clear. I don't have to lie or hide how I feel about a person because I genuinely can't. So if I don't love my partner, if I don't respect my partner, it will show. And so for me in my past relationships, like when these conversations came up, I was very honest. I don't trust this relationship will last. I don't think you'll be committed. And I was right. So you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to settle for this.
You know, it never feels great to be in a relationship where you feel like you are doing everything to show someone that you're good enough and that they might not feel the same way despite what you know you can give them.
Ooh, but see, that's not what makes a relationship work. That I think he has the wrong idea because none of that makes sense to my brain. Like, despite what you can give them, it's not about that. Even if you could give them the world, like if you're not their partner, you're not their partner. No one's going to say no to their high compatibility partner. So even if you're great on paper, great on the resume, you think you're perfect, you're a nice person, you're everything somebody else could want, it doesn't mean you're their person. Perfectly decent people break up every day and it's totally fine. Settling for a guy who's great and will give you the world is still settling because your high compatibility partner doesn't have to give you the world because that's not the same thing. That's why money is great for survivability and sustainability, but you know, hordes of wealth is unnecessary when there's love. So for a person who's like, I can give you the world, what world? Materialistically? Even when you say I can love you, well, obviously not, because ultimately like your high compatibility partner doesn't have to work this hard. I just don't think so. I think high compatibility partners are those soulmate feels, those people that like, wow, like this is my person. You're not fighting. You're not arguing. You know, you're maybe having reasonable adult disagreements, but you're not calling each other names. You're not belittling. There isn't infidelity, financial or intimate wise. Like there's none of those things. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the wrong way to approach a relationship. Like, look at all the things I can give you. Sounds like you're trying to buy love.
Scotty, you gave the ultimatum.
I did.
I want to marry him. I just don't think right now is the best time. We're in two different
Red flags. Right now isn't the right time to be together. Could you imagine? I meet people all the time that are like, oh, I met the love of my life once, but we lived in different places, so we couldn't be together. And I'm like, with peace and love, it's called long distance. And I know that's hard, but hello. And also, of course, I'm somebody who moved to a different country to be with the person that I love because it was better for our marriage. Like, obviously, we could have been in any country, my country or their country. We chose their country because it was better financially, obviously. Shout out to Croatia. But like, we did whatever it took. Like, if he had to move to the States, he would have made it work. And that's the kind of people that we are. And that's the kind of love that I think, honestly, people want, but don't understand. You still have to wait to find it, and you might not come across it in your lifetime. Somebody who's willing to move countries for you, somebody who's willing to move jobs or switch careers or do whatever it takes to be together, somebody who's willing to make smart, rational, good decisions on behalf of your marriage, that's a very specific person. Again, you want to prioritize the relationship, but not over self and not at the expense of self. You want to prioritize self, but not at the expense of the relationship. You want to live in positive symbiosis with both things. So whatever it takes to make the relationship work, but not at the expense of self. Whatever it takes to make you joyful, but not at the expense of the marriage. It's called becoming a team. You have to move as one. You have to be on the same page. None of these people, and I guess that's the point of the show, are on the same page. And that should tell you everything you need to know. Especially after 2 years of dating, I knew within 6 months of meeting my partner. Best decision I ever made. We are incredibly happy. It is unlike any other relationship I've ever had in my life. It is the best relationship I could have. To be fair, I was already in my 30s when we were dating. So I knew a lot about myself, and I dated a lot of people by then. So I already knew, what I was looking for. And I had already made a lot of my mistakes in dating. So it was probably easier for me in that sense.
Different cities currently. I'm like peak of my career right now. And I just feel like if I were to do that, it'd be me moving and me having to do a lot of sacrificing to make him happy.
Oh, don't do that, girl. If it truly feels like that, it's not worth it. Because I love my career. And one of the parts of our courting relationship that was important is like my career is never coming second, like in terms of our ultimate, like it's never going away. Like I'm willing to change my job. But I am a career person. I will be working and nothing will come in the way of me working unless I decide not to work, which is very different. So if she feels that way about her job, then that's an indication to me that should be a priority. And maybe she's not with a partner who can help prioritize her career. So again, there's nothing wrong with choosing your career, but I think what you're looking for is a high compatibility partner that works with your career. I see so many couples that they're both career people and that doesn't work because their careers take them in different directions. It happens. So you have to either find people that their careers are compatible as well. That's the high compatibility that I'm talking about. You're so high compatible that even your jobs go together. They match somehow. The scheduling, the vibes, whatever it is, that's the point. And I feel like people forget high compatibility means in all aspects of the marriage, especially your job. And also, why isn't he moving? Why can't he move his job?
Do you have a fear that I do something just because a man wants me to do it? Because I feel like that's kind of how my parents were. And I feel like my mom ended up resenting my dad and they're not together anymore.
Fair.
At a certain point, you have to question, is it life situations surrounding marriage that are making you hesitate, or is it the person that you're with?
True.
If Arya's not ready to be married by the end of this experience, I'm gonna move on.
I did issue an ultimatum to Nick. We dated for 5 years.
Wow.
And so I've talked about the fact that I've given an ultimatum, but what I've never talked about is what I actually truly did. And I kept pointing the finger. And I took that finger and I turned it to myself. And then I had to say, what am I not giving him? I'm not giving him the respect that I'm asking. I'm not giving him the communication that I want. There's an age gap and I was still going out, partying with my girls. And I'm telling him I want to be a mom. He's like, cool, okay. So I'll see you at 2:30 when you get home.
I just want to encourage you all, don't let your past define your future.
I actually agree with Vanessa here, Vanessa Lachey. I actually really agree with her here. Because that was what I was running into where during the lockdown, I was going on, not Tinder dates, Zoom dates. And I would go on these dates and these guys would be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to get married. These women would be like, oh, I'm ready to get married. And then I'd say, where are you in your career? Where are you with your life? And they were still kind of in their 20s phase, even though they were a little older, a little younger. And I'm like, oh, well, how ready are you to get married if you're still doing young people stuff? Because I am don't get me wrong, like I'm young at heart in some ways. You know, I love my anime and I love my, no kid lifestyle and I love a lot of things. But I also am in the other stage of my life where now we're thinking about retirement. We want to save money. We want to buy a house. We want to do all those adult things that I truly believe are possible for us. But also we're making an effort to make them possible for us. And that takes a lot of discipline and a lot of focus and a lot of not buying $500 whatevers and not going out and partying and not spending money on alcohol and not doing these things. So I think it's interesting when we say like we want something, but nothing in our lifestyle is reflecting that. Oh, I want a house, but nothing in your lifestyle is reflecting that. I want to get out of debt. Nothing in your lifestyle is reflecting that. Oh, I want children. Nothing in your relationship is, so again, we can say we want, but until we actually make the effort to become people that get those things, like you're either going to get it in a situation that isn't healthy, like a baby you're not prepared for, or you're going to plan and you're going to make it happen within reason. And of course, there are, other factors that come into play, like health and things like that. So, keep that in mind. But I agree with Vanessa here.
Tonight is your last night together as a couple. Tomorrow, you'll break up and become exes.
You will all be single. You'll have 1 week to date freely with anyone in this room.
And in 1 week, you will be back right here for the choice.
I'll tell you this right now. I can't even notice other people with my partner. Like the moment we started seeing each other, nobody else existed in the best way possible because the intimacy between us was just so there and obvious. It just wouldn't make any sense for us to be interested in other people. Like we know logically there are millions of other people out there in the universe that could be very high compatibility with us. We'll never know because we'll never spend the intimacy time with them to figure it out. We don't have to, right? We're both alive. We're both together. If one of us dies, maybe in the future we run into one of those people again, who knows? That's totally valid. We take a very rational and reasonable approach, I think, to marriage and love, which is like we're evolved animals on a planet. We choose our mate. We have our relationship. It's really lovely. It's really romantic. It's really beautiful. It feels like so magical. But realistically, one of us could die. Colon cancer is on rise in millennials. Girls, get checked. Okay. So we know that that's possible, but we also know that we're going to do our best to live a long, happy, healthy life with one another. And so this idea of like, go date other people, go talk to other people with peace and love. I don't like people like that. I get very understimulated in most conversations with people, and finding another neurodivergent person who's as stimulating in conversation as I feel like I need consistently all the time is great. Obviously, the difference between a high stimulation conversation with a friend and a person you're living with is that one happens 24/7 and one happens on occasion. So if I'm with my friends and we're having a great conversation, great. But eventually we have to go our separate ways. We're not living together. We're not doing life together. With my partner, this is somebody I can talk to all day. And we find each other interesting and fascinating. Like anytime we're together, it's like, that's very special. And the idea of like dating other people I could do that with, I know it's not a thing because I've been talking to people my whole life. I've been talking to people since I was 15. I've been dating since I was like 14. I've been talking to people. And I know the one thing that was always missing for me was the ability just to talk. Like my parents, all they do is talk. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that's going to talk to me for the rest of my life, that I'm going to be able to talk to, and we're both going to feel excited and stimulated and interested, and we're just going to enjoy each other's company. So the idea of like, oh my gosh, no, ma'am, I could not.
Now, obviously, an engagement ring is a symbol of your commitment to marriage. So I thought we'd add a little sparkle to this season. We have provided a selection of rings that you may use if you choose to propose. Now, the terms of the ultimatum are very clear. At the end of this experience, you'll either engaged or alone, or possibly in love with someone new.
Wow.
This experience will be challenging and at times uncomfortable. And I want to be honest with you, it should be uncomfortable. Choosing someone to commit your life to is one of the biggest decisions that you will ever make.
Yeah.
And either way, your lives will be changed forever. Here's to love.
This is so interesting. I've already been here for quite some time. I've had so much to say already about the series, and I feel like I already know the couple so well already, even though I know we're about to get to know them on such a different intimacy level. Just the situation alone, just the dating other people, being with other people, putting yourself in that intimacy situation. I mean, in other seasons, we've seen like actual physical intimacy occur. Girl, the way this is like, how do I say this? I think I'm too romantic for this, even though I think I'm a very logical person. I also think I'm too much of a romantic, not a toxic romantic, two types of romantic: wholesome romantic, which I like to think that I am. Think Disney's Up, right? And then toxic romantic, think, Megan Fox and MGK, it's just like, I don't want toxic love. I want healthy, wholesome love. Okay. I want love that's built off of trust and dignity and treating each other well. No infidelity, no cheating, no fighting, no yelling, no demoralizing, no name calling. One thing I made different in this relationship than any of my other relationships is like zero tolerance for name calling, yelling, throwing things. I know that sounds silly because in other healthy relationships, the idea of any of those things occurring is outrageous. But in my 20s, I convinced myself that toxic love was just a regular kind of relationship, that fighting was normal. Fighting is not, it might be normal, but it's not healthy. So you know what? Now that we're at this stage of the video, and I feel like I have already said so much, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. And we'll continue episode 1 the next time we come together. And I think what I'm going to do is split these into parts because honestly, it might take us a long time to dissect this series, but I think it will be worth it. So maybe I'll do every episode in multiple parts, depending on how much I have to rant about. So I'm going to leave you here for now, and I'll see you for the next video. Please leave your comments in the sections down below, and please like and share this video with somebody who's also watching the Ultimatum, because I would love to hear their opinions as well. Okay, guys, talk to you soon. Bye.
My head in real life while in bed, my belly's being fed and I'm okay. I'm just fine, yet all I do is whine. Not to you in my mind, cause I know I don't make sense. I've been nothing but blessed, so why's my life a mess? Please tell me, cause I'm sick of thinking. Yeah, I'm sick of reaching out for the truth and living life as a fool.